Well, here in the Coastal Bend, all students in the Tuloso-Midway ISD will be returning to in-person learning next week. Right now, administrators say about 70% of TM students have already made the switch from remote to on-campus learning. They'll be joining Robstown, Banquete, West Oso, and the CCISD in getting back to actual classroom instruction. TM Superintendent Dr. Rick Fernandez says 80% of the district's teachers have been vaccinated, and with the dip in COVID cases, he believes right now is the best time to make the transition.